So here's what John Maxwell considers to be the qualities of a dream team. Number one, the team members care for one another. Teams that don't bond can't build. And so he's saying we have to figure out how, the people that you're leading, how do we get them to care for one another more than just because they're supposed to or because they're in the same group, but an actual genuine care for that person beside them. And you know how that is. Like, you have cross-line people that you genuinely care for and you want to help do anything for them, creating that type of atmosphere. Number two, the team members know what is important. All of its parts have a common goal and purpose. In most organizations, though, Maxwell says most team members don't know what it means to score. They know what it means to be on the team, but they do not know what it means to score. And I think we see that a lot when you're dealing with people and they should be writing, 15 to 30,000 and they're writing 5,000 and they're wanting to celebrate, and you're frustrated because it's like they scored a point, but you lost the game. You ever seen the kid, like he finally scored, but your team lost by like 40 points in a basketball game, and the one kid's over there celebrating like an idiot, and they lost by 40 points. Or I always find it like in a football game when they sack the quarterback, but they're already down by like 35 points, and he celebrates anyways. When they're celebrating and they haven't won, they don't have victory, that's a showing that they don't know what it means to score. They don't know what success looks like in the team. Anyone who doesn't know what's important to the team not only fails to contribute to the team, but they actually prevent the team from achieving success. So what he's saying is we have to make sure that each team member understands what's important and what it means to score and to be a part of that team. How do we win? Number three, team members communicate with one another. They communicate in a clear and formal way, meaning they don't beat around the bush, but they also communicate in a positive way, meaning not just are the rebukes and the things that we got to get fixed, but they also look for things to encourage one another. And so we have to create an environment to where we're used to being positive and uplifting people instead of just tearing people down. In a safe environment to offer suggestions or criticism. For you being the leader, one of the things for you to focus heavy on is that people feel safe giving you suggestions. Whether they're dumb or smart suggestions doesn't matter, but they feel safe giving them to you. We've all seen people before where if you ask them a question or you give a suggestion, they make you feel dumb and try to push you down. That's just their tendency. We've got to fight hard not to create that type of environment, one that is open to criticism and suggestions, whether it's good criticism or bad criticism, one that's a safe environment where people feel free to speak. Because if somebody has a brilliant idea but doesn't feel comfortable sharing it with you, that doesn't help you. And we need every advantage we have if we're trying to win. Number four, the team members grow together. The growth should include shared experiences and periods of communication so team members stay connected to one another. I know right now we can't really meet like we normally do, but this is perfect for our night owls where you get certain people talking and sharing stories that helps them to communicate with one another, but you get to control the growth. In an organization, it is the team leader's responsibility to orchestrate the team's growth. And that's one of the hardest things, I think, because a lot of times we want to just hand them the book and say, let's go, keep moving. But you need to be orchestrating the growth for your leaders, not for everybody, but for your leaders. Number five, in a team, it is a good fit. A good team fit requires an attitude of partnership, meaning that they're trying to work together. Every team member must respect the other players. They must desire to contribute to the team, and they must come to expect a contribution from every other person. And so we all have met people that all they care about is themselves. They're not a team fit. We have to find people that want to contribute to one another, help one another. They must learn to trust each other. Number six, the team members place their individual rights beneath the best interest. The team member place their individual rights beneath what's best for the team. the team comes first over themselves. They must genuinely believe that the value of the team's success is greater than the value of their own interests. They've got to get to a point to where they're trying to get to the win together as opposed just by themselves. Personal sacrifice must be encouraged and then rewarded. Number 7, the team members know exactly where the team stands. In sports, the ability to know where a team stands at every moment during a game separates the great players from the adequate players. One time when I was in 7th grade, my dad coached a baseball team, and we had the worst team in the league. We lost every game, all 16 games, and most games we lost by 10 points. It was horrible. And I remember one day I was standing on second base, and my dad yelled out to the guy in the right field and said, "What's the score?" And the guy, he couldn't even find the scoreboard that was hanging in the sky to tell him what the score was. And so it was no wonder when the ball went in that direction, he never caught what was coming his way. He was on the field, but he wasn't in the game. And a lot of times we have people that are in the business, but they're not working in the business. They're just bodies that are in there, and they have no idea what the score is. And so as a leader, it is our responsibility to constantly make sure they know what the score is, what's going on. That quality, as much as a talent, enables a player to move from one level up to the next. If you never know what floor you're on, how do you know what floor you're going to? Outside of sports, the quality could be called organizational sense. Here's what he says it looks like. It is the ability to know what is happening within the organization. So just knowing what's going on. You know how sometimes you talk to some of your people and you seem to know a lot more than what they know is going on in their business, and you're thinking you're 10% the size of what I'm handling, yet I know a lot more than you. And so they just don't know what the score is. The other is, how is the organization stands in reference to its goals? How close are they to hitting the numbers that they plan on hitting? How they stack up against the competition? How are they doing against the person beside them, the team beside them? How the different players are doing, and how much more they can give in order to get the team where it needs to go. Number 8, the team members are willing to pay the price. Success comes down to sacrifice, a willingness just to pay the price for whatever it takes to get there. Each team member must be willing to sacrifice time, energy, be willing to be held accountable, sacrifice their desires in order for the team to win. So, and to recap, he's talking about developing a team, and just to be clear, he's not talking about developing an organization, but a team within the organization. So this isn't to be confused with your entire hierarchy. This is talking about your core group. Christ had 3 disciples, and then he had 3 that were close to him, then 12 disciples, and then there was actually a lot of disciples that just followed at a distance, and then there was a multitude. And so this is speaking of the 3 and the 12, those that are close to you, and developing those and creating an environment that is successful. And it doesn't mean that it'll be perfect. One of the things that I can encourage you with is Jesus had 12, and one of his was a liar and a traitor. And so if Jesus had one that was a traitor, don't beat yourself up when you have one that is. But I also will encourage you that Jesus knew he was a traitor the whole time. And so Jesus did what he was supposed to do regardless of what they were going to do. And so you're not being judged by their responses, but you're being judged by the way you treat them, whether they respond correctly or don't correctly. That's not on you. What's on you is what you do for them. So on this subject of developing a team, that close group of leaders, here's our first question, how do you create team camaraderie and competition at the same time? And then our second question is, how do you create a team environment where they win at all costs?